Okay, welcome to the new video. Today we're going to do October November 2022 variant 1. So let's start with question number 1. The diagram shows the three forces acting on the block. The resultant force is 6 Newton to the right. Okay, since this 6 it is 6 Newton to the right, this is the resultant force. It means this minus this, it's already a 6 Newton, right? It says which additional force produces a resultant force of 3 Newton to the left. So he says if it is 6 Newton to the right, now how much force should be added to this side so that this produces a 3 Newton to the left? So it should be 9 Newton because it's already resultant force of 6. So if you need to produce 3 more Newton to this, first 6 Newton will balance this force and then 3 Newton will be the resultant force to the right. So it is going to be, sorry, to the left. So it's going to be 3 Newton to the left. Sorry, 9 Newton to the left. 3 Newton is the resultant force. We have added new 9 Newton. So that's going to be 9 Newton to the left. Velocity is given by the change in the displacement divided by change in time. How many vector quantities appeared in the statement? There are two of them. One is a velocity, the other one is a displacement. Time is a scalar quantity. A car of mass 1000 kg is traveling down a steep hill. Brake fails and the driver uses a horizontal sand-filled safety road to stop the car. The car enters the sand at a speed of 10 meters per second, experiences a constant stopping force of this. How far does the car travels in the sand before coming to the rest? So since we don't have equations of motion in our syllabus of O levels, so we're going to use the graph method. It was at 10 meters per second. There was a constant deceleration like this, right? So how far does the car travel in the sand before coming to a rest, right? So first of all, what we're going to use is we're going to use F is equals to ma to find our acceleration, which is deceleration. So 2500 is equals to 1000 a, so a will be equals to 2.5 meter per second square. Now the gradient is 2.5 meter per second square, right? So from here we're going to find the time, which is a is equals to v minus u over t. Since it is a deceleration, so it should be negative a. V should be 0, starting speed is 10 and this is t. When I'm going to use this, I'm going to get t is equal to 4. So it means took 4 seconds to reach it here from 10. And I'm going to use area under the graph, which is 1 by 2 times base times height to find this area, which is the distance traveled by this thing. So it's going to be 20 meters. Which part of distance time graph shows the fastest constant speed? So the fastest constant speed is the one where the gradient is greater, so that's C. Because gradient of the graph, distance time graph, is your speed. The object is accelerating a straight horizontal track. Acceleration is uniform. What speed time graph represents the motion of an object? Since it says there is acceleration, so it's a uniform acceleration, so it should be a straight line. But let's see what the other says. That's zero acceleration, that's non-uniform, that's also a non-uniform. What causes the frictional effect experienced by the cyclist to increase? Using a lighter bicycle? No. Traveling at a greater speed? Yes, that can be. Smoother tire surface, so that should decrease. Oils, the road surface is covered with oil, that should also decrease, so that's only B. The diagram shows the car at the moment the driver sees a hazard ahead. This is the thinking distance, then this is the braking distance. Which expression is equal to the stopping distance? You need to add those both, braking and thinking. A planet orbits the sun. The planet moves in a circle path at a constant speed, but it is accelerating because it is changing direction. In which direction does the resultant force acts? So it is always towards the center of the circle. Centripetal force always acting towards the center of circle. X is the result of y divided by z. What are the value of x, y and z? So mass is w divided by g. Yes, that can be the answer. Let me verify the others. Weight is mass divided by gravitational. No, it's mass multiplied by this. So B is wrong. Mass is g divided by w. No, that's wrong again. So that's wrong again. So only A is the right answer. The diagram shows how the extension of the spring changes with the mass suspended from the spring is on planet X and when it is on the spring planet Y. So mass and extension is given. It says which conclusion can be drawn from these graph. So it is not possible to compare the gravitational field strength on the planet. No, it is possible. The gravitational field strength on the planet X is equals to the no. If it would have been equal, the gradient would have been same. The gravitational field strength on the planet X is 1/3. No, it's not 1/3. If it would have been 1/3, then the this X should have been in the denominator. The gravitational field strength on the planet is 3 times. Yes, that's because it is extension mass graph, so that's why the gradient should be greater. So for this you need to apply the moments. This is a clockwise anti-clockwise movement. This is also anti-clockwise movement, so I'm going to add them. 30 times 40 plus F times 50 is equals to 60 times, and I'm going to do this one clockwise. 60 times 30, so that is 1200, 50F, 1800. So 50F is equals to 600. So F is equals to 600 divided by 50. That's 12. So F is equals to 12 Newton. So let's move on to next, which is force objects of equal mass rest on the table. The center of mass of each object is labeled G. Which object is the least stable? So the least stable is the one that has a greater, like whose center of gravity is higher, and its base area is smaller as well. So we need to we see that if you see that its base area is smaller and its center of gravity is higher, so that's why it's the least stable. Each tire of a car has an area of 100 centimeter square in contact with the ground. The car has a mass this. Weight of the car is equally distributed among 4 tires. What is the pressure exerted? So first of all, we need to times it with the 4, so that we're going to get the complete area. So 400 is our total area. Mass is given. We need to convert that into weight. W is equal to mg. so that is going to be 60,000 Newton. Now that is force over area. We don't need to convert it into meter square since it's in the units. See, they are centimeter squares. So that's going to be 40. Pressure P of some trapped air is varied. The mass and the temperature remains constant. Volume. So volume is inversely proportional to pressure. But if we're going to see that there is no graph of inversely proportional here with the volume, so we can take this as a whole quantity, then this becomes directly proportional to this. So pressure is directly proportional to 1 over volume. Directly proportional is a graph which is passing through the center and is a straight line. A constant force F pulls a block weight W up the slope. How much is work done by the F in pulling the block up the slope? So that's very simple. That is force times the distance moved. Distance, this is distance, this is force. X and Y are both 40 watt and 240 lamp, 40 watt and 240 volt lamps. X is more efficient than Y. This statement compares X with Y. X is more expensive to run. No. X is a low electric resistance. No, that's not the case. X produces less light energy. That's not the case. X produces less thermal energy. Yes, because it does not give you a lot of waste. It does not waste a lot of energy, so it produces less thermal energy. The diagram shows the radiator heating the air in the room. So hot air rises, cool air is replaced. What is the process? This is a convection. So in convection, the hot air got cooler and it becomes more dense. It goes down, while the hot air which is at the bottom, it becomes less dense and rises due to the density difference. So that is convection. Which process of heat transfer takes place in a vacuum? So it's only radiation, because convection and conduction, they both need material medium, means particles of the air. The diagram represents the 4 thermometers. So it says which thermometer has a greater sensitivity and which thermometer has the greatest range. So if I see Q has a greatest sensitivity, because for 1 degree rise there is this much length, so this is the more sensitive one. And if you compare the range, this measures 200 degrees Celsius, this measures 250 degrees Celsius, this measures only 10 degrees Celsius, and this is 25, so that is the greatest range. So it should be Q and R. Let's see. The piece of iron of mass m is placed in a mixture of ice and water. Its temperature decreases from theta 1 to theta 2. How much thermal energy is lost by the piece of iron? So now we're going to use, since it says how much energy is lost, so you know energy's formula is mc delta T or delta theta. M times specific heat capacity times change in temperature. Since it's decrease, so theta 1 has to be the larger one, and that delta means change in temperature, so that's why we have used minus. A kilogram of substance has a fixed shape. Thermal energy supplied to the substance weakens the force of attraction between its molecules. What is happening? A gas is being heated? No. A liquid is at its boiling point? No. A liquid is evaporating? No. It's a solid at its melting point because it has a fixed shape. So only solids have fixed shape. Which condition produces the greatest rate of evaporation of the liquid? Higher temperature, yes. So low temperature is gone wrong. Drought, yes. Larger surface area, yes. So A is the right answer. Which statement is correct? Both longitudinal wave and transverse wave can travel at the speed of light? No, they can't. Both longitudinal waves and transverse waves of similar wavelengths must have similar frequency? That's not the case. Both longitudinal wave and transverse wave can travel in vacuum? No, longitudinal wave cannot. Both longitudinal wave and transverse wave can travel in water? Yes, they can travel through water. Light and sound, they both travel through the water. Mirror is placed a path the ray of light, right? Through which angle does the direction of the ray light changes? Okay, the ray which has to go the straight way is now this way, so we need to find this angle. So this is 40, this is 40, because angle of incidence is equals to angle of refraction, and we need to subtract these sum of these two from 180. You will get this 100. An oscilloscope is used to demonstrate a sound. Which feature of oscilloscope trace is affected by quality of the sound? So it is always the shape of the wave. The amplitude is with the loudness, frequency is with the pitch, and so that's why the only shape is the one. 4 plotting compasses are placed near the bar magnets. Ignore any effect of air, Earth's magnetic field. Which compass appears like this? What is the possible position of the compass? Okay, so you know, if it is coming from north to south, so it's going to be like this. This is all 4 positions. So C is the right answer because he is asking for the downward pointing of the. A plastic rod and the cloth are initially uncharged. The rod is then rubbed with the cloth, and the cloth becomes positively charged. Now cloth becomes positively charged. It means electrons from cloth is traveling to the plastic rod. So charge on the rod is to be negative. Yes. So C and D is wrong. And electron move from cloth to the rod. Proton move from the cloth to rod. Proton never moves. So it's A only. Which expression gives the electromotive force EMF of the battery? Work done over charge. This is the formula of the EMF. Work done per unit charge. The circuit contains 2 cells and 2 lamps. The cells are new and fully charged. In which arrangement of the cells and lamps do the cells discharge most quickly? Right. First of all, if it says discharge most quickly, so parallel ones they don't. They take longer to discharge. So it should be in series, yes. And the bulb should also be in series so that maximum resistance can be applied. No, sorry. It says most quickly. This one, because this is going to get equal number of volts. Like for example, if it had 12 volts, so it is going to get 12. So it is going to get discharged more quickly. The lamp is connected in series with the battery and a variable resistors. The resistance of the variable resistor is decreased gradually. Which statement is correct? The current in the lamp increases. Yes, current in the lamp increases because if this is decreasing gradually, so it means the overall resistance of also decreases, so the current increases. In the circuit shown, all the cells are identical and all the lamps are identical. The switches are closed. In which circuit are both lamp the brightest? Okay, first of all, this is not going to work because the diode is in such a position that it's not going to work. This is also not going to work. Now we are on to B and D. This is in series, so the voltage will get divided here, so it's not going to be the brightest of them. This is in parallel, so they will get equal voltage, which is of the voltage of a battery, so it is going to be the brightest. So D is the right answer. Why is the fuse used in the electrical appliances? To earth the appliance, no. To protect the appliance, yes. To change the power, no. To change the voltage supply, no. So it's only protects it. Which statement about the transformer is correct? The change in magnetic field in the transformers induces EMF. The changing magnetic field in the transformer induces an EMF in the secondary coil. Yes, it does. But let's see what the other ones. The core of the transformer is made of the iron because the iron is a good electrical conductor. That's not, yes, it is made up of iron, but not due to the electric conductor. No. The transformer converts alternating current to direct current. No, that's not. It's not a rectifier. Transformer converts direct to no. So A is the only answer. The diagram shows the output of an AC generator displayed as on an oscilloscope screen. The generator is turned at a slower rate and the settings of the oscilloscopes are controlled are not changed. So since now it's slowed down, so the wavelength will be greater and the amplitude will be less. It is in this, but let's see the other options as well. This is the wavelength is not changing, the amplitude is changing. Both has to change. In this, wavelength is decreasing. It has to increase. Sound wave produced by the note is displayed on a screen of a cathode ray oscilloscope. The time base is set at 5 milliseconds for 1 division. What is the frequency of the note? So that's very easy. It says it is 5 milliseconds for 1 division, so it should be 1, 2, 3 waves. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 times 5 is 60 divided by 3, so that's 20 milliseconds for one. That's a time period, so not meter per second, so milliseconds. So that's 20 times 10 to the power of minus 3 seconds. So 1 divided by 20 times 10 to the power of minus 3. So now when you're going to solve it, you're going to get 50 hertz. The type of radiation emitted by an unstable nuclei are helium nuclei, shorter wavelength, and electromagnetic waves and electrons. What are these type of radiation? Helium nucleus is alpha, electromagnetic waves is gamma, electrons is beta. So it's A. Beam of electron is fired at a uniform magnetic field as shown. The diagram shows the magnetic field into the page. Which path do the electrons flow? So we're going to use the Fleming left hand rule for this. So our middle finger, which is the current one, is going to should be pointing to this direction. Field is into the page, so the index finger, this is middle one, index has to go inside the page. it should go into the page. So index into the page, and the thumb is going to point out downwards D. Although C is also downward, but that's not smooth. It should go smooth. Which statement about 3 type of radiation emission is correct? They are all completely absorbed by the thin aluminum sheet. No, gamma is not. They are all deflected by electric field. No, gamma does not. They are all deflected by magnetic field. No, gamma does not. They all causes ionization of gas. Yes, they do. But some of them are more ionizing power. Some of them have the less ionizing power. What is meant by half life of a radioactive isotope? So half the time for all the unstable nuclei to decay. No. Half the time it takes unstable nuclei to emit radiation. No. Half of the time the unstable nuclei, the time for half of the unstable nuclei. Yes, this is because it is like if we have 1000 unstable nuclei, when they are left with 500 unstable nuclei, the total time taken during this time is known as half-life. A radioactive isotope emits alpha particle, beta particle, gamma particle stored in the wooden box are lined with the material that prevents most radiation escaping from the box. What material is used? So that should be used as a lead. So that's it. Thank you very much. Do give a like to this video. We'll see in the next video. Till then, bye bye.